Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me and hanging out with me today. I do have the kittens in here with me. This is their probably 17th trial run to see if they can be in here while I'm filming and doing other things, and Leia just decided to go to the blind, so hey, Buttercup, do you mind? You know what, we're just gonna go with it. Alright, so we're gonna see how this works. I opened the window a little bit up for Leia. She really likes to look out there. There's literally nothing to look at out there. There's nothing. I don't know what is so entrancing about it, but you know, cats, man, they just, you know, I think I have this theory that cats, like, see things out the window that we don't see. They have, like, super vision or something like that. Super vision. Yep, let's go with that. And then Zelda's just chilling down there. She's just doing whatever. Hey, baby. What's up? You want to say hi? Do you want to say hi? Oh, say hello. My name is Leia, and I am so cute. Here, you go play with your sister. Alright, anyways, well, in this video today, we are going to be doing EDH Cards Under $1 Part 7, which is pretty wild. I will list all 6 other parts in the down bar below if you want to check those out. But basically, this is just the reason that I kind of do this series is just to kind of spend a little bit of time checking in and talking about cards that are under $1 that are still, you know, good cards that you can run in Commander. The even best part is that if you want the foil version, some of them, those are even under $1, which is, like, amazing. So, basically, I just kind of like to talk about cards that are, you know, really solid cards for Commander. There's definitely cards that are worth splurging on. If you want to spend money on Commander cards, you can definitely do that. I have another series which is literally the opposite of this, called EDH Cards Worth the Money, where I talk about cards that I think are worth the money, and there's definitely those definitely exist, but I think it's cool to talk about cards that you can get for inexpensive, and inexpensive foils is like my favorite, like my 2 favorite words are inexpensive foils. Like, you had me there. So let's hop into it. Let's first talk about Qasali Pridemage. Okay. So I am a huge fan of cards that do multiple things. I've honestly thought about doing a video series where I just talk about cards that do more than one thing, because variety is the spice of life, and that's, to be honest, what I feel like this is just one of my favorite things. So Qasali Pridemage fits that bill pretty perfectly. It is 2 mana for a 2/2 with Exalted, so if you have your commander swinging, or you have it swinging, or like any other creature swinging, it gets Exalted if it attacks alone, which is kind of a nice little, you know, little bonus. And on top of that, another bonus that this gives is for 1 mana, you can sack it to destroy target artifact or enchantment. So I like this because it kind of leaves that threat on there, like, hey, if you play a really threatening artifact or enchantment, I've got this Qasali Pridemage, but I can kind of like let it stick around, possibly get some extra bonus damage with Exalted before that. So I kind of like having that sort of thing, kind of like that threat that kind of like is chilling on the board. I'm a fan of that before you kind of decide to pop it off. So good card, I like it a lot. Okay, the next card is Rewind, and here's my thought process behind Rewind. There's plenty of counterspells that you can run in this game, and Rewind is a good one, but what I will say about Rewind is, if you're going to do this, the best thing to do is make sure you have other things that you're going to do with those untapped lands. Otherwise, you're just kind of paying 4 mana for a counterspell. And yeah, this card is cheap, and like it does counter everything, which is nice, because sometimes counterspells specifically say counter target non-creature spell, counter creature spell, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, this card doesn't have those restrictions, but one thing I will say about this is make sure you're actually doing something with this, that extra 4 mana. Like, if you're playing very much an instant sorcery deck, or you're activating, like, an ability of, like, a Tasigur or something like that, like, make sure you're doing that. Otherwise, this card's just kind of a 4 mana counter spell, and it's kind of meh. So that's my thoughts on Rewind. With that being said, though, I do think that this is a solid card, and I've seen people just, you know, do this and then do something else, and it just pays for itself, and it's a good card. Cool. Okay, the next card I want to talk about is a newer card that came out recently in Ikoria, and I feel like this card might be possibly a sleeper, but I personally think this card is awesome, and that is Bonder's Enclave. I talked about this card in my Ikoria set overview as being a card that I was personally really excited about. Ikoria, not my favorite set. I don't really have a whole lot of, you know, positive things to really say about that set. It just wasn't really my favorite, but I do really enjoy Bonder's Enclave. I think this card is incredibly strong. And this card, what I like about it, well, I like a lot of things, but I like that it does have a mana. It doesn't enter the battlefield tapped, so you can activate this for a mana, you know, if you need it, like, let's just say early stages of the game. And then for 3 mana, you can tap it to draw a card. You can only activate this with a power 4 or greater, so one thing I would note about this is I think this belongs in decks where you have a lot of big dudes, and or you have a deck where your commander is power whatever or greater. Like, for example, you know, I would run this card in like an Omnath deck, for example. Like, I want this card for my Omnath deck. It's on my list as a card that I really do want for it. And it, because it just really works well in there. It works well for Omnath, but also I'm making a lot of 5/5. So overall, I think Bonder's Enclave is great. I love cards that say draw cards, like my favorite thing to do in the whole entire game. And that second is wiping the board / spot removal, and this card fits the bill for getting the chance to draw cards, which is awesome. I love lands that draw cards too, and I feel like there's not enough of them, so I like this card a lot. Super good budget card. Okay, another counterspell that I just like don't see people running this counterspell, and like it's so good, and that is Counterflux. And I remember like back in my modern days when I was playing like Grixis, I like always had a Counterflux in there. To be completely honest, this card is a little bit weird to cast. Like, I would only run this card in a blue-red deck because it gets a little bit jank when you're running it with, like, other color combinations because it's double blue and a red. It's just a little bit weird. It's, like, a harder counterspell to cast. But let's be honest, if you're building, like, a Keranos commander deck or, like, a Mizzix deck, anyone remember Mizzix? Remember that when that commander deck was like everything and everyone had a Mizzix deck? Well, anyways, Counterflux is a great inclusion in those types of decks or any just sort of blue-red deck. This card is awesome. It can't be countered by spells or abilities. Like, it cannot be countered, which is awesome. You counter target spell you don't control, which I really like, and it's got overload. So this is like a really good card for people in your playgroup who maybe like to storm off and you kind of need an answer for them, or just even if you just pay 3 mana and you just counter something, like, this card is awesome. I really like it. I like that the overload's also just an additional one more, and that's colorless, which I think is really awesome. So, like, if someone is playing, like, 10 spells, you're just able to, like, counter it. Like, this card's awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, the next card that I want to talk to you guys about is Despark from War of the Spark. This card is so sweet in black-white decks. I think this card's awesome. So it's exile target permanent card with converted mana cost 4 or greater. To me, this is like EDH staple. You're playing these colors, this card needs to go in there. It's amazing. Like, okay, I love that it's permanent. Love that it's an instant. It is only command CMC 4 or greater, which is fair, but like commanders, like, definitely you're able to target them commanders, and it's only 2 mana. Like, just those are 4 reasons why I love this card. Oh, I'm sorry, and the 5th reason is that it's under $1. So, I mean, 5 reasons why War of the Spark, or Despark, is a great card. Love it. Okay, man, spending a lot of time talking about a lot of blue cards. There's just a lot of blue cards in this set. My next card is Archeomancer, and this is for my people who just, like, really want to play Snapcaster Mage, but you can't because Snapcaster Mage is just an expensive magic card. Archeomancer is definitely a solid inclusion. I like this card for so many reasons. It's 4 mana to get back an instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Now, what I will say is, it's kind of like, think about it like this. You're paying 2 mana to get a 1/2, and you're paying 2 mana to get an instant or sorcery back, but you have those, like, stapled into one. I really enjoy Archeomancer. I run this card in Tasigur, and I just really like it. You know, I like that it's like a body. After it does its thing, it's just kind of a blocker, just kind of like sitting there. It's like just this perfect chump blocker after it does its thing. Overall, just really like this card a lot. Okay, this next card I want to talk about is Zhur-taa Druid. I can't say this word. Can't say it. It's not Dryad. If I say droid, it makes it sound like I'm saying a Star Wars droid. I can't say that. I don't know why. That word, like, has never really been a word that I can say. Okay, anyways, this card's awesome. I actually got inspired to talk about this card from my friend Travis because he was playing it in one of his decks, and he's like, this is such a good card. Why don't I see more people running it? And I was like, Travis, you're totally right. Okay, this card's sweet. 2 mana for a 1/1, you add green to your pool. We've seen abilities like this all the time. Like, this is just a Birds of Paradise-esque ability. And then whenever you tap this, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Like, this card's just annoying. Like, no one wants to spend a removal spell, like, getting rid of this card. It's like that slow burn. Something I truthfully have found in a lot of my Commander games is people don't remove those slow burn cards like this because they're like, oh, that card's not going to do anything. And then it stays around for, like, 7 turns, and then that's like, you know, let's just say you have 3 opponents.
7 times 3 is 21. You've done 21 damage if you tap this. And one of my favorite things that I've seen people do with this card is they like won't even, they'll be like, end of turn Zhur-taa Druid, have green in my pool, and then everyone's like, everyone takes one, and then like that's it. You don't even do anything with that mana, you just like activate it. So I like it. It's a mana dork and a slow burn card all in one. What more could you want? Great EDH staple card. Love it. Okay, then we have Desolate Lighthouse, i.e. Desolate Loot House. Great card. If you're running these color combinations, I would 100% recommend Desolate Loot House in your deck. It's been printed a bunch. You know, you can get this card for like extremely cheap. The foil is under $1, y'all. So if you don't even want, if you were like me and you are bougie and you want foil cards, you can get this card for under $1 foil. Like, what more could you want? Desolate Loot House is great. Now, here's what I will say about this card. Okay, well, I'll say many things about this card. First off, I like that it taps. It doesn't enter the battlefield tapped, because sometimes these specialty lands do enter the battlefield tapped. This does not. You add colorless to your pool, which I really like. So, you know, if you're not doing anything, if you're not activating this ability, you know, you have that chillin', so you can still tap it for mana if you're not activating the ability. You draw a card and then you discard a card. Now, something that's important to note here is I would say make sure you're playing a deck where you're comfortable with discarding cards, or you have a way to like get cards back, like Archeomancer, which we talked about earlier, things like that. But nonetheless, I do really like this card. It's 3 mana to activate this. Anytime I can have draw effects from multiple ways, like my lands, my artifacts, my creatures, my instants, my sorceries, like I'm about all of those sorts of things. So yeah, just a huge fan. I like Loot House a lot. Cool. Okay, the next card is Syr Konrard the Grim from Throne of Eldraine. We know I love Throne of Eldraine. It's one of my favorite sets, probably of all time, to be completely real here. So, Syr Konrard, you know, he's kind of a big lad, you know, he's like a 5'4". Oh my god, my sock has a hole in it, guys. I've been having like ultimate major crisis. Hey, get off my tower. Right, I have to take both my socks off now, because you can't have like one sock on. That's like super weird. But anyways, I've been having bad luck. I've had like, not kidding you, like 5 socks of mine like have holes in them this week. It's been like, I'm in major crisis mode. So if you have any good like sock brands, you know, hit me up. But anyways, okay, so Syr Konrard the Grim. Yeah, I feel like when I saw like this set of like knights all printed, I was just like really excited for them, particularly with a limited mindset. But I do like this card for commander as well, so I think Eternally does have other impacts other than just, you know, playing it in limited. But it is 5 mana for a 5/4. Whenever another creature dies or a creature is put into graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, I like how it does both of those sorts of things. I think that's really cool. Or a creature leaves your graveyard, so 3 things. It deals 1 damage to each opponent, which I really like. And the 2 is each player mills. And to be honest, I think even if you're not doing a mill strategy, I think this card is super strong. You know, you can do this if you have like nothing else to do with your mana, if you're not playing a mill strategy, for example, but I like this. Again, it's a slow burn card. It's a card that people might not necessarily want to remove, but it deals 1 damage to each opponent, which is great. I love the cards that deal 1 damage to like each opponent. I just think it's kind of like that generic, like, again, annoying sort of thing. People don't really want to remove cards like this. But yeah, good card. Okay, and the last card, and I cannot believe I haven't talked about this card before, is Intangible Virtue. This is for my people who are running my token strategies out here. This card is just stupid. I remember like back when I played Black-White Tokens in Modern, like a literal minute ago, when I was playing this card, and I remember like one of my friends was like, this card is just stupid. Like, this card is dumb. And if you are playing tokens in Commander, you need Intangible Virtue, period. It's under $1. You have no excuse. It's a super easy thing to cast. It's only got 1 white in the mana cost if you are playing, you know, multiple colors. Like, I run this card in Alila, and it is a house. The fact that if you want to split this card up, and the way that I like to think about this is you're paying 1 mana to give your stuff +1/+1 for an enchantment. That's dumb. Dumb. And you're paying another mana to give them vigilance. That's like stupid. This card is so incredibly good. Like, I can't say enough good things. Just tokens, you need this card. It's under $1. I'm pretty sure the foil's like a little bit more than $1. Like, come on, you need this card in your life. Like, it's so incredibly good. Like, this card just to me is like one of those, like, you didn't have to give me both, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you gave me the +1/+1, and I'm glad you gave me, like, the vigilance. Like, if this card was, like, +1/+0, I'd be like, okay, but, like, +1/+1, Just good. Love this card. Okay. Guys, that was everything that I wanted to chat with you guys about in today's video, talking about more budget cards under $1. I already have part 8 planned, and I already have part 9 planned, because let's be real here, I love talking about budget cards. It's like some of my favorite stuff. Like, talking about those more expensive cards, that's super fun for me too, but there's nothing better than talking about a card that's like, this card's awesome, and it's under $1. Like, love it. So that is everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. I gotta check on these crazy cats. Bye.